What if the ultimate pearl isn't something that you find, but something that you finally realize has already been within you all along? Your true power only begins when you surrender the title of seeker and finally realize that you are the spiritual being that you've been looking for. At some point, we all have to break the cycle of this constant learning mode and step into the power of actively applying it, embodying the fundamental of at one minute. Because it's not enough to just study these beautiful truths, as beautiful as they are, and listen to these lectures and attend workshops. These are the fine pearls, but the merchant sold his entire collection to buy the one pearl of oneness. In this teaching, we're decoding the parable of the pearl and the path of conscious attainment, and revealing the four-step alchemy required to fully embody the central truth, the truth that ends your search. I am Satra Anuket, a guide, not a guru. And this channel is your esoteric and metaphysical roadmap decoding the 7 hermetic principles to activate your Christ consciousness through your inner waters. Welcome to the channel that cracks the code on the universe. Now let's get into this decoding. The parable is found in the Gospel of Matthew 13:45-46, and it reads, "Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it." If you're like me, you're tired of this endless search. You're looking for the anchor, the absolute thing, that truth that makes you feel an entire sense of all of the spiritual syllabuses that you've ever acquired. This parable is a tiny, powerful story that describes this search perfectly. And on the surface, it seems very simple. A merchant finds an amazing pearl and sells everything to buy it. But inside this story is a map, the most profound discovery you can ever make: finding yourself. Let's meet the merchant. This isn't just some guy. This is you, conscious seeker. You're not stumbling around in the dark. Oh no. You're the one who diligently meditates, who researches philosophies, who explores the mysteries of metaphysics and neuroscience, and you've read all the books and attended all the courses and done all the work. You're self-reflective, you're introspective. You actively learn what it takes to develop. You are a collector of fine pearls. And these pearls are beautiful, absolutely. Every genuine insight, every moment of clarity on your path, these are all fine pearls. They're valuable. They help along the way. They light up the path. But then something happens. After handling all of these beautiful truths, you see it. The one great pearl. This isn't just another pearl. This is the central pearl. The one thing that makes truth and makes sense to all others. Metaphysically, this is the realization of the one thing that really matters. The one presence, the one power, the one consciousness, the substance of love that is flowing through everything, the life the one life that is flowing through everything. The understanding that at the core, we are all connected and there is unity. Only love, only life, only God. This is the great pearl and its price. This is the truth that unifies your entire collection. Now comes the most radical part, as in all these parables. The merchant sold everything he had. Think about that. He had a whole collection of valuable pearls already. But to have that one pearl, he let go of all others. This is the ultimate spiritual surrender. It doesn't mean that the other teachings or the other pearls that he had were bad or not valuable. It means to fully hold that central truth, that oneness. You have to let go of your attachment to even things that you thought were valuable, but they are of lesser identity to you. So that you've got to sell the identity of being a healer, of being a yoga mystic, of having this, of having these titles, of having pride in your spiritual knowledge, of the comfort of any limits or dogmas or doctrine or anything that feeds your ego. You let it all go. This is the great price. The total surrender of the part of the ego that feels like it needs to categorize itself, that it needs to give itself a title, a value of self-importance, a greater value of spirit that is operating and in control of the ego itself. And this can show up in any example of your life to where you feel like you're achieving something. And my example of my great pearl is just personally, I'm going to share a story with you all if you don't mind. You know, I was very successful in my career of feeling like I needed to be able to provide a life for my children. And many parents can relate to this, right? I was doing all the things, buying all the things, but at that cost, at that expense was the time that I had with my children, the time that I had the ability to be there for my children because I was busy traveling for work or doing this or doing that. So I missed out on that valuable time. And although I had acquired all these tiny pearls, all these little things that may have perceived of value, yes, we had all of these things, but the most valuable pearl of all was my presence and my influence and my ability to have conversations while I was taking my son to school instead of having somebody else take him to school because I was out of town. So my sacrifice was to sell all of those things that I thought were to be perceived as luxuries, because the greatest price, the greatest pearl of all was my presence for one, myself, and two, for my son. So this example can show up in anywhere in your life, but that's just an example that I wanted to share with you all. So this merchant, which is you, sold everything to buy the pearl. That is the path of conscious attainment, the diligent, long search, accumulating and just actually, a total surrender. It's a part of the journey of becoming the pearl, becoming and seeing where the true value is. This parable actually has a sister parable, which is the parable of the hidden treasure. If y'all haven't checked that video out, make sure you do, which is the path of grace. The man finds it in an unexpected awakening. It's an instant recall of your true nature. But to fully occupy that truth in that parable of the hidden treasure, he still had to sell his lower consciousness and to take occupy to ownership of his own field. So when we think about both of these parables and we think about what the kingdom of heaven is like and what that journey is like, is that most of us live in the blend. It's just what it is, right? We live in moments of grace where we are met with long stretches of dedicated seeking, and other times of years of just diligently doing the work. And this is the rhythmic scale. This is the universe operating at its own harmonic scale. It's a harmonic dance. There's a little bit of a tango, a stop and a go and a flow and a you put in a little work, sometimes you rest, right? It's its own process and it happens at its own perfect pace. And we just have to be in flow and align with it, to be in flow and in harmony with the rhythm, the harmonic scale of the universe is the perfect way to dance with it, is to ride the wave instead of going against it. Because nobody wants to be tossed and tumbled and have waves crashing in their face. It's not fun. So what is this practical map? This is the 4-step alchemy that I promised that I'm going to share with y'all. You like to hear it? Here it go. Number 1, be the conscious merchant. Actively seek. Be discerning, be aware, be consciously aware and mindful of your thoughts. Honor every beautiful pearl of truth that you find. Number 2, discern what the central pearl is. Everything that you have, understand what really, really matters to you. What is your core central pearl? What is your truth? What is the one thing that really has no price, that is priceless, that is going to cost you everything, that has a value that money and tangible things cannot buy? Does this thing that I'm doing, and this is a question you can ask yourself in figuring out what that is, does this thing acquire me to ultimately unify within who I am, or does it cause me to separate? Does it cause me to detach? Because if it's causing unification and harmony, then I know that it is a great pearl. Is it love or is it fear? Because the greatest pearl, the highest truth, the one power, the one presence of good, the one presence of God is unity. And it's always going to create harmony. And I know sometimes living in a society that's disharmonious and is everything against the harmonic scale and the circadian natural rhythm of the earth, but we still can keep the harmony and within the weather within our own selves by just living within our own truth. We don't have to subscribe to someone else's story and narrative and timeline. You'd be surprised with what you get once you just stand in your own truth and surrender to your truth, which is number 3. Surrender to unify within your own truth. This is really the bravest thing that you can do, that it takes so much courage, but you have it. You have the power and the courage to be able to do it. Be willing. No, don't be no. There's a California term, you know what I'm saying, and I don't take any offense to it. It's a terminology. In California we say, don't be no mark ass buster. You know what I'm saying? Don't be no punk. Like don't be no coward. Basically, is what all those sayings are saying. It's like, be willing, have the courage, be willing to release any belief and label or identity that limits your infinite. Why settle for the finite when you are the infinite? Like, let go of those finite limiting beliefs. Let go of the map of the things and become the whole territory. When you realize that you are the territory, when you realize that you are the altar, then you'll stop praying to a physical altar outside of yourself, because you are the temple. And until you do, until you embody your full temple, your consciousness is like an empty room in that temple. Lights on, but nobody's home. Nobody's home. Until you fully embody the truth, you don't just own and possess the pearl, you become it. You buy it by embodying it, because you live from the unshakable knowing that you've actually earned it by paying the full cost of letting go and surrendering to everything that you had to occupy and embody that space. This parable is an invitation to move beyond collecting spiritual concepts and to become the living, full embodiment of the one thing that matters. I want to know about your great pearl. Share in the comments below with me, what is the one pearl that you find to be so unifying, so true, that you would sell every other concept for it? I want to invite everyone to let go of the need for outside validation and declare your truth. Doesn't matter what other people think. What is your one great truth that matters to you the most? If this message resonates with your spirit's frequency, subscribe and join my community of sovereign sentient light beings as we continue to master the universal laws and uncover the deepest truths within. I am sending you all so much love on this path. Remember, you are not just the seeker. You are the merchant, the pearl, and the priceless discovery itself. Always remember, you are the light. Just be it. Shine. Till next time, y'all. Peace. Be well.